All right. We want to welcome you again to this great edition, and I'm trusting that you are doing very well in your organizations. You are doing fine in your places of work, in your family, in your careers, in your profession. Today we are going to be talking about fruit model. You know, leadership is supposed to give us fruit, and fruit is what people enjoy taking. If a tree is actually alive but cannot bear fruit, it definitely does not attract anything. But when the tree begins to bear fruit, you will find people say if you get under the tree, you're going to see stones, you're going to see sticks, you're going to see things, objects that people use to throw at the fruit. So we want to look at specifically the fruit model of leadership development. How do we change and produce fruit in our leadership? The great teacher has to say that you are the branches, and he say he is the vine, and he wants us to produce much fruit. And he said the fruit that you are going to bring out, I want it to abide, which means let it last long. And today we're going to be looking at fruit model leadership development from our country, great Nigeria. So I'm going to be using the symbols of this country. I'm going to be using also the national flag. We are going to be dealing with our I pledge, and then we will deal with also our national anthem. We're going to be looking at the coat of arms to be able to see that all those things we have, where are they coming from? First of all, I would like you to know that for us to develop anything that is going to be meaningful, certain things are very, very necessary for us to come to those points. The number one is human capital development. You know, if you're going to see fruit, you don't see fruit just on bare land. You don't see fruit on just in the bush or in the wilderness or in the forest. It has to be organized. And for us to bring and have a model of leadership that deals with development, then we have to look at the human capital development. Now, we are in this country and in also the country that you are probably watching this from. One of the things that people really want to see is they want to see relevant education. They want to see relevant education. Now, education is not just going to be good if it is not relevant. And what we are suffering today, specifically in our country, Nigeria, is that we have a lot of people that are educated, but the area of their education might not be relevant for what or for the fruit that we really want to see. People have read a lot of courses, they have attended schools, and they have gotten also degrees, but they are not relevant in what we are supposed to be doing in this country. Reading history and going through some courses, I was actually made to know that some years ago, when this country was growing up, we had some people that were sent outside to go and read some courses. And this might interest you. We sent somebody who is representing us to go and read classical Latin. That is what he went outside. Now, the country sponsored the person to go and read classical Latin. I mean, it's like, what are we going to do with? And looking at the background and the aim of this country, that Nigeria is first an agricultural land, a nation that is supposed to be known with agriculture. But we are now sending somebody to go and read a course that has to do with Latin. Now, how do you merge the two? This is what I'm saying, that we need to have relevant education for if we're going to have human capital development. The second thing is to impact disciplines and skills. Now, skills are very, very necessary for our movement and our development. The fruit that we need to see in this country as a nation must come because people are skillful in most of the areas of their professions. And skill can actually give you discipline. It can impact what we call discipline. So we need to come to those areas. 1960, we want to thank God for the people that fought for the independence of this country. But if you begin to also study human capital development, you're going to find out that you actually can be an independent country, but you are not a free country. What makes a country free is not that you are free from your own people that have actually controlled you, they have colonized you, they manipulated you, or they are in charge of everything you do. A country is free when they have skills that they can. Now, what we did successfully was that we actually become independent, but we have never been a free nation. A free nation must be a nation that does not depend on external things to be able to do what they want to do internally. And so we have all of that. The second thing I wanted to understand, if we're going to see fruit in this country, is we must come to the point of having to deal with natural resources development. And Nigeria is hugely blessed. We have become the jealous of many nations. We become the envy of other countries. The Chinese are coming in here. The Americans want to be here. The Indians, they want to be here. Why is it that they want to be here? Almost people, we are the people who don't like Nigeria. We, the Nigerians, the citizens of this country, we don't like this country. Why? Because we are looking at ourselves as people who are suffering. They are in a jungle. We are just in a bush. We are not having all the things that we see from other countries. But other countries are actually looking into this country, Nigeria, and it's like, my God, if I will just have a chance to be in this country, this and this is going to be what we are. And so if you begin to see some natural areas of developing, you're going to find out that most of the people who are developing this country from natural resources, they are not citizens of this country. Why? It is because we have not actually been given the freedom and the skills to actually use. The equipment are not there. The skills are not there. The expertise is also not there. What do we do when we are going to deal with natural resources development? Number one, you're going to find out that you create value addition to products. And we have all of this in this country. For example, if you talk about the person that actually has to do some work and gave us what we call peanut butter today, Washington Carver, he actually came to a place that he began to look at granite, and he began to process and find out how far these nuts can actually go when they begin to yield maximum fruition from what they are. And he did a lot of, and then it has to say that it came to a place of 230 usages of just one thing that we know now as granite. We in Nigeria, we can just farm and eat, and then, or we use it to cook, or we use it to do something. But can we go to 230? So Washington Carver was able to produce that and now gave one part of it, which is the peanut butter. So when you add value to natural resources you create it, is because you are developing natural resources. I discovered also some years ago, we had tin and ore in Jos. We had hides and skin that was coming in from the northeast. And then we had we had granite, the pyramids of that. We had cotton. All of these things are no longer here. Why? Because we don't know how to create and add value to our natural resources. So natural resources development is becoming a problem. We have a lot of trees. We have a lot of rocks and soil in Nigeria that we can. The next thing to do when you are dealing with natural resources development, you also have to look at it and say, yes, we are supposed to have an entrepreneurial and strong private sector, which Nigeria is trying to. It's been there, most likely dormant, but we need to. And it is only of recent that we are beginning to get young men and young ladies and people who are actually becoming crazy because of entrepreneurial activities. And we are beginning to see that we actually have these inbuilt skills and we can just develop them and make them better. The desire, the passion to actually explore is in us. The other thing is to develop regional and global market. And you have to use natural resources to be able to attract all this, whether it is a regional market or it's a global market, which all these people are looking at and saying, we want to come in. The next thing also, if we're going to get fruit from this country, and it's going to be a fruit model leadership development, we must have a government that actually facilitates development. You know, some things were done in this country some years ago, and it was a threat to the government. It was threat because some young boys decided, okay, I'm going to go into this. I'm going to explore this. I'm going to manufacture something. I'm going to create something. I'm going to innovate something. And the government comes on so much on them that actually it's like they just fizzle out. Now, while others are looking for people like that, we are clamping on them and making them to look like all their research and whatever they want to do is just useless. So what is the government going to do to help make us produce fruit, that everybody will become functional, everybody will become fruitful, everybody will become relevant, and that we will begin to look inward into this country and allow others to come into? Government that actually facilitate development must provide infrastructure. There must be an environment for people to explore. There must be an environment for people to do their research, bring out something, manufacture, innovate, and create, and cause things to begin to happen. And while we do this, there has to be law and order. Because if we don't have law and order, every meaningful achievement is going to just be destroyed. And you know what we're going through in this country. It is just from this point. So I want every one of you to understand this is. Now we're going to be looking at what place and in what areas are we supposed to be fruitful. How are we going to model the fruit functionality leadership? Now the first of it, you are going to find out that there are spheres of the society, which means there are 7 areas that actually culture the culture and tradition of a country, of a group of people, or of an ethnic ethnicity. We're going to find out all those areas. The 7 areas which most of us, we actually find it difficult to agree. And recently, it's been there. The people who actually God spoke to them about these 7 cultures that shape the lives of nations, they came in from, all of us know very well from the scripture. And God began to open their eyes to see that if we're going to be fruitful, then we have to actually expand it in all the 7 areas. The number one of it is education. How do we have a relevant education that will produce a fruit model? That men and women, students who have graduated, who are in school, should be able to produce, manufacture, do something, and allow the country to become great. One area that we are supposed to be fruitful on it is the area of education. The second part of it is politics. Now, politics and governance, which I just mentioned, that it is supposed to be a government that allows people. You know, yes, there's law and order. Yes, there is supposed to be discipline. Yes, there's supposed to be infrastructure. But everything is supposed to be supervised. You know, when a government begins to supervise rather than controlling and manipulating, now we are not going to see the fruit that we are looking for. So politics and governance is one area, and we are going to be talking about that as we proceed today. I wanted to also understand what the other part is business, economics, and commerce. And you know, from there, you also have entrepreneurial spirits and people who are ready to do great things to happen in their country. So economics is also part of it. Now, what are the laws and what are the orders? What are the principles that can actually govern our economic activities in this country? What can we do to encourage people who are coming up from all of those areas? So we need to understand that our businesses are going to be. Now, Nigeria, when you begin to talk about business, we have a different understanding of what business is, because our minds have been corrupted. And so when somebody say, I am doing business, you are half looking at him as a criminal. You are looking at him also as somebody who does not follow principles to achieve whatever he wants to do, and then who lowers standards and bring in anything. Example, this country is actually like a dumping ground specifically from China. Why? Because most of our people who are into business, that's where they go. Now we are actually looking for something that is supposed to be of quality. And then I want to sell. I want to go into business. And I'm going to liaise with somebody else to just produce anything. The quality is not going to be what I am going to be looking at, but let just the product come. And that's why we have actually filtered everywhere with all of. And you also know very well that the Chinese are your cousins. And because you are corrupt, they are also corrupt. So whatever you tell them, they don't have standard. All they are looking for is a profit margin. And so they work towards that one. So we have specified. Now it's very difficult to get even bulbs. They can't last. The electric wires we're using, they are substandard. And so many things are just not there. What is happening? The government cannot check these things even on the standard of the things that we are getting here. Why? Because everybody wants to gain. So if I am bringing in substandard goods and then fake things, and the government wants to actually stand on me, what I'm going to do is to tip them. And then once I tip them, everything comes into this country. So business is like, business is defined as a corrupt way of getting money instead of a way of getting money, adding value to people who are buying or patronizing your own product. The next thing is media. Media is supposed to be given. We are supposed to have fruit model from actually media. But now media has made Nigeria to become something very, very bad. All the fears that we are having every day is because when you hear breaking news, somebody's going to tell you something that's going to make your heart cut. When you hear breaking news, you're going to hear something has happened in this place, something has happened to such a person, something has happened to such a place. Now in this country, the media is so corrupt and is so bad that we don't have the point of having what is supposed to be. Our journalists cannot just go and cover event the way it's supposed to be. It's like our eyes, like an eagle, are upon the bad news. So good news are hardly found in this country. So fear has gripped everybody in this country. Everybody wakes up. People are afraid to watch the news. And even though we cannot watch the news, your devices are bringing in things that is making you completely. People are having hypertension. People are having, their hearts are palpitating. People are restless. There are places you cannot go. There are roads you cannot drive along or travel along. Everywhere you go, even in shopping malls, everywhere. And now we have come to the place where everybody is a suspect. Why? Because the media is producing things that is happening. And when you come to the printed part of media, we hardly have people who are actually writing books that will help this country. Almost everything we are doing to help us is coming in from outside. Good books are coming in from outside. Authors are coming in from outside. Whatever we want to do, all devices. The reason is because we have come to a place that we don't want to believe that we can do some things. The next point where we're supposed to have fruit in mass ways is the area of religion. And I'll be talking about that one even as we go into some of the national symbols we're going to be looking at for this and in this country. Religion is supposed to produce peace. But more wars have been fought basically based on religion. And it is on the increase. From the beginning of man's creation, it has been this way. If you look at Cain and Abel, which all of you know the story, what was it? It was actually the practice of worshiping God that brought the death of a brother. Same father, same mother. That is how tough this religion can actually go. And religion in Nigeria has become something else. It is a great weapon for destruction. Instead of building the lives of people, religion has become something that has taken more lives on a daily basis. When you even come into the place where we are now suffering because of abductions and some things like that, even the people that know that, yes, I am actually kidnapping people, when they kidnap a person who is not in their own base of religious faith, the person is going to suffer grossly. Why? Because even in the evil, it doesn't have the same level of treatment. So I want you to understand, religion has. We are supposed to have a very great nation. This nation is fighting over just two religions. The Muslim religion, which is the Islamic, and then we have also the Christians that are having their own as Christianity. And these two, they become the big tigers or the lions or the elephants that are fighting in this nation. And if you know the creator of humans, he never, I want you to understand, he wants people to have a will to serve him by choice. And so if I'm going to worship God, I'm going to serve him, it has to be by choice. You can't force me into your religion and all of that. And all of you also, by the time you begin to study religions, you will find out that actually they are man-made. They are never coming from God. Somebody sat somewhere and said, this is what is supposed to be done. If you're going to do this, you're going to get that. So God created us in his image, and he wants you to be like him. And God will never kill any person in the name of what he wants you to do. No. He gives you principles. He gives you a choice. Now, principle produces choice. You can choose to be right. You can choose to be wrong. But if you choose to be right, then you stand on that area. If you also choose to be wrong, the principle of making that choice becomes your destruction. So we need to know what is balancing this. What has happened to our government is basically because of religion. The bad governance we are having today largely is not that we don't have great leaders. No, we have great leaders in this country with great minds. Our governors, the people that are called senators, and then those in the National Assembly and things like they are. Now, but you see, when they pick religion as number one weapon, why they got into an office, they will manifest something that will destroy other people that are not of the same faith. So we need to look at what fruit religion is bringing. And in the whole of Africa, Africans know that Nigeria is fighting simply because of religion. That is the point. It's fighting seriously because of religion. Our destruction, lives and property. People have relocated. People have actually moved from one area to another. Everything that is supposed to happen in this country is not going on simply because of religion. But you will hear that one in our founding fathers' yearnings. What was it that they were actually looking at? And then you're going to look at the social aspect of it. The social aspect is how God created us with a heart to love, with a heart to relate, with a heart to also identify one another, stay with one another, and then be a blessing one to another. He wants us to. He created completely us. Each one of us is different. So the diversity is not for enmity. The diversity is for unity. It is in diversity that you can come together as one. You cannot be one and also come to one. That's not going to be. So I always say this, and I mentioned it so hard, and I wanted to hear that it is wrong for any religion in this country to believe that we are going to conquer this nation and be one religion. It is not. Even the countries that you are trying to emulate and you are trying to walk after them, they don't actually have one religion. That is not true. They don't have one religion. They don't practice the same thing. But they live still with those things. So there is no way. You cannot be so selfish enough to be able to say, I want to impose my religion on a country. That is completely a bad way of thinking. It can never even come to a place where you're going to achieve that kind of. Why? Because God has never made that decision that somewhere, somehow, somebody is going to control somebody because he wants to convert him to his own religion. That is not. But you see, the fruit of your religion will actually make me change my mind. You know, there's no way you're going to carry sword, you're going to carry gun, you're going to carry knife, you're going to carry sticks, and then you are telling me that if I don't accept your religion, you're going to kill me. I might decide to accept just because of the weapons that you have, but my heart and my soul and my spirit will reject it. Now, you can't force any person to become because you want to use that. It is completely unacceptable because God created humans and every human has right to live and they have life to live and make their choice. So the social aspect of it is becoming also another problem because when we begin to relate, we also bring in religion. It has affected the work ethics. It has affected the workforce. A lot of people are not working today, not because there are no employments, but because people want to employ people of their religion, of their tribe, of their regionality. And it is not proper. If a government is going to be, a government is like a mother. A mother actually has children, but she can also take care of both the bad children and the good children. So government is supposed to be the part where everybody comes and actually have a relief instead of fighting in the jungles of. So social aspect is becoming a problem. Now, recently you are beginning to find out also that people are coming around to say, okay, because our minds are corrupt, because we don't know what to do, people have begun to solicit. They are now beginning to ask. And you see, if we have to have a challenge, then we have to deal with the National Assembly. Because the National Assembly is where bills are passed. It's where some ideas, somebody will just sit down, bring something that demonically he or she was inspired to bring in. We are now talking about, okay, that weed is medicinal, and so some people are farming it, and then some are trying to stop it, and some are selling and telling that it is medically correct to do that because it's going to solve some things. Yes, I accept that from your scientific research and whatever you have come up with, but the destruction this thing does in the lives of youths in this country, all of you have to. Recently, you know very well, those of you who are from the northern part of this country, northwest and northeast and north central, we right now have 2.2 million young men and women that are into addiction. 2.2 from just these three areas that I mentioned. And you also know very well that Kaduna is the number 4 when it comes to south northwest. It's number 4. And yet it is not legalized. So when we legalize these things, what is going to happen? You know, it's like what happened to the issue of alcohol. You know, alcohol actually is a legalized drug. That is the name given to it. It's a drug and it is poison, but it is legalized. And so you find it. So what happened in Zamfara? What was happening in Kano? People have been killed. In Maiduguri, people carry trucks of beer they want to. They will kill the driver, kill and burn everything. Why? Because they believe in their religion, you cannot take all of these things. So I want you to understand we have to. The next point and the last one from here on the 7 areas that we have to come in is celebration. Still, it has to connect to media because our gadgets, which are mostly our tablets and our laptops and then desktops and whatever we're using and our phones, we have gotten things inside these things that are killing our humans. The development of the human capital is actually lacking. When you see a person having a phone, you will actually know whether this person is a person who is aware of what this device can do. People today, they don't have time to come and sit down and gather themselves around a TV to listen to news. No, everything is in our phones. And so you're going to find out that what people promote is not actually what it's supposed to be. Celebration, entertainment, art, sports, and culture is supposed to be something that we are supposed to be known for as Nigerians because it's part of what makes us creative, innovative, and it is also what is supposed to expose us. Great things have happened, but now we have left all of that and we have moved into a particular celebrations that are evil, that are actually evil. The fruit of it, all of it is evil. So what do? How do we move on and do the things that God wants you and me to do in this country? I want to give you the character traits of a fruit model of leadership development. The fruit, what we are supposed to actually see. Now, we need to understand, if you take avocado as a fruit, when you slice it, you're going to find out that the seed is inside. That is what it is. If you take mango, you are also going to find out that the seed is buried inside. There is only very, very few fruit that have the seed outside, like cashew. You get something, the seed is outside, and we are asking ourselves, what kind of thing is that? And God has everything too, because in Genesis 1:11, when he was doing that, he actually did everything. So the seeds that have the fruit that have the seeds inside of them, and then the fruit that also have the seeds outside of them. What is he trying to tell each and every one of us here? The first thing that we are going to be looking at from a fruit model of leadership, actually we call development. I'm going to be giving us certain things that we need to. The seed is actually the area of character of the avocado. Because when you take the flesh, which is what we enjoy, we throw away the seed. But you see, the seed is what carries everything. So Nigeria is supposed to actually have a seed. And that seed that we are really, really looking at is what is going to make this country to become a different country, rather than having it to become like another country. It must be the fabric of our foundation, the nature of the character of this country is supposed to be the seed that is inside. Now, some of this fruit that carries seeds inside the fruit, you're going to find out that it's not hardly seen. You can't see the seed from the fruit until you eat everything. And what is supposed to happen to us is that people are supposed to eat the fruit of your leadership before they know the kind of seed that you are made of. Now, this is where I want you to understand, because this is the point I want to bring to in this teaching, for you to understand that it is not the seed that we are to rush to. The country Nigeria is supposed to produce fruit. And fruit is what people enjoy. When they give you Peter or Julie mango, the first thing you look for is you wash it. You have to go look for knife, and then you sit down and you begin to slice. You don't slice the seed. You slice the flesh part, which is actually what is called the fruit, and you enjoy it. And after you finish, you throw away the seed. We are used to that. I want you to understand the fruit, which is the fleshy part of that fruit, is what this country or your leadership is supposed to. Example, if you are the head or director of any other organization or company, people are going to actually know how good you are. Your goodness, your kindness, your faithfulness, your empathy, your compassion, your trustworthiness, you are speaking and fulfilling, you are making promises and fulfilling them. You sit with the staff, you find out how they are doing, what is their challenge, how can you help. This is how and what people are looking for, because it is what people will enjoy. It is not just the seed. The seed is going to be tougher to the employees, and it's going to be very, very tough for them. So the first thing people want to see, how good are you? How caring are you? How much do you love us? How well do you intend us to? Now, when you see somebody who comes up and they say, I don't care whether you are dying, I'm not going to pay you until you do this work. The person is actually telling you that there's nothing you're going to gain from the fruit model. I cannot give you something, which means you have to look at me very well and know whether you want to be here or not. And there are people that they don't need to shout at you, they don't need to stretch you, they don't need to scream at you, but you find people loving them and serving them even better and giving them more energy and more extra hours. What is the secret? The secret, because there are people that once you see them, you have to run. Yes, you have to run. Why? Because you know that they are going to be at your neck. They are going to mess you up that day. And so avoiding them becomes how smart you are. But there are also leaders that when you see them, the more they are coming, the more you run to them, because you know you're going to gain. The fruit that you are supposed to give others, I want you to look at. The first thing that this country is supposed to do is to cast vision. And we have been saying these things all over more and more, that this country does not have a national vision. Some people are even coming to the point of saying that Nigeria, the name Nigeria, is a fraud. Now, you can actually think about that. Then we talk about, no, there is nothing like Nigeria. Then people will come around and say, no, it is just 3 parts that we are beaten together, forced to come together. Yes, all of those things are there. Historically, it is. But you see, the fathers that decided to actually ask and negotiate and say, look, we need to be independent. They actually knew that there were 3 regions. They actually knew that there were 3 countries, or many countries and many nations. But what they were trying to do is that, look, we want to come together. Even though we are many nations, we want to come together and have just one nation. If it was not solidified, then we have to have a government that will come up even from the other nations we are talking about. They can pull out representatives and we can come together and actually agree that even though it was a fraud, now we want to legitimize, and so we can make it to become what it is. So there has to be a vision. The second thing is there's going to be an established guidelines. You know, established guidelines, this is where you're going to stop, this is where you're going to exceed, this is also what you're supposed to do. That there's going to be guidelines of whatever's going on. Now, we don't have guidelines in this country. You establish infrastructure, and you know that sometimes what the government is very good at now is to build a lot of infrastructures. Yes, and I agree with that, which is a great area of. But you see, we can't develop one area and leave the other area. Remember what I said, that human capital development is necessary. Why? Because if you don't develop the mindset and the human capital, the infrastructures are going to be raised by fire once there is riots. And we have seen these things in this country right from 1960 to where we are today, getting worse in all of this. We also have to have a strategic planning. It is also the fruit. We have to provide for success. It is also part of it. Then leadership succession, which means we have to begin to raise another generation of leaders, that if the present leaders are not around, these ones will take over. And Singapore has done a very great job. They have up to 4 categories of sets of leadership, that if this one is not doing well, the other one comes in. We only have one, and we want to manipulate, hang on it, control, and we don't want to even release it. So in succession, it's not that we are supposed to have continuous improvement. Yes, we do something that's very fine, but we need to improve it. And then we improve that thing, and then tomorrow you discover that also it needs to be improved. So we are. But you see, it's like we are going backwards in this country. Everything, from whatever we want to, from the peace we used to have, we don't have peace now. Even the roads we used to have that were, now we don't have them. What is it that we are doing? Hatred is actually coming in more and more, and people are moving instead of advancing. That's going to be. Example now, it's going to be very difficult for you to develop anything, even if the citizens of Kaduna State want to build new houses. They can't go to, because where they bought their lands, that's where they are chasing us from. And so you cannot be thinking of building. So instead of even improving, we are congesting into a place that is actually not healthy enough for anything that is called infrastructure. And we're supposed to be having emergency preparedness, which are hospitals and primary health care centers, but we don't have all of these things are not. You know, roads on themselves can actually become a trap, or they can become a very great area that you can move into. But these things are not. And we are supposed to be customer focused. Our customer focus first is the citizens of this country. That is supposed to be. They are supposed to be our government focus. That we are the ones who we have told them that when you vote me, I am going to do this to you. So you have become my customers. I'm going to spend my time. I'm going to think about you. Your welfare is my focus, my priority. Your safety, your protection is mine. And now we have taken oath, and people are dying every day, and they are abducting and kidnapping them every day. But these things are not. And it's not because we don't know where they are, neither do we know, or we don't know what to do to stop them. It is either we are ignoring or there's something we gain out of this. And then we talked about retirement. Now, if you check all the people that have retired from whatever government work they were doing, you just find out they are suffering more than anything. Why? Because the plan for retirement, which the government gave them, is never functioning. And so pensioners actually are suffering every day. You know, some of them will go and queue up for a line that somebody is 75, 78, 80, and it has to be just to queue. The system is bad enough that it's going to allow you move from your house to a place physically to be identified. And some people have fallen there and fainted. Some have died, actually queuing to get money that is not anything to write about. What are we supposed to do? The seed of every fruit, not the flesh now, first has to do with faith and confidence. And you see, Nigerians are not having faith again and confidence in this country. That's why we are running. People cannot stay anywhere in this country. No, people have left Maiduguri back to where they came from. People have left probably, we are migrating by force. And it is because there is no confidence and there is no faith. And then also there is no integrity. So you can't buy any land anywhere else because they are not going to allow you to buy. Why? Because you are not the tribe or you are not an indigenous of that place, and therefore certain things cannot be. But integrity is supposed to let us know that humans need protection, need safety, and I need to also have them to be with me as neighbors. What is supposed to be? We are supposed to have great knowledge in this country. What are we supposed to have? Self-control and moderation. Now, self-control, once it becomes part of our character trait, all these things we are doing, we will not be doing them. And then you talk about patience and preservation or perseverance. The power to move on one thing until we have it. We start a lot of things and then we stop. We initiate something again and then we stop. That is making us not to persevere. Therefore, we cannot see the fruit of all of that. We have to have strategic life plan. A strategic plan, what's going to happen to our fourth generation as a country? What is going to happen to them? If all of us are not alive today, after, what will the fourth generation or what will your grandchildren have? This is why when people come to power, they want to hoard everything for their children's children. And then the rest of us that we don't have anything comes that way. We are supposed to be kind, and kindness is supposed to be the virtue that we're going to have. Kindness is not for animals. Kindness is actually directed to people, and if we have that, it will. So we have also at the end, we are supposed to be having goodwill. So what is goodwill? Goodwill is how to speak and let people know, look, this thing is going to take us to this place. So with this, I want you to understand. Let us look at how we have derailed from what we are supposed to be having. Example, the Nigerian flag. I want you to listen to that. What they designed, the person that designed the flag actually have it. They are all three equal parts. The green, the white, and the green. All of them are three equal parts. Now, and you know it, and it's divided actually three vertically that we know. That is how it is, into three equal parts, which means if we look at what these people begin to say, and they say we need to have a flag, they wanted to let us know that whatever is going to happen to this country, we should be able to come together and become equal in every way, even though there's green, white, green. That is one part. The outer parts are actually green. That is, let's go back. The fruit why these people designed the flag and why they adopted it as the Nigerian flag is because green is the outer part of the flag. What does it represent? It actually represents agriculture. Now, if you look at the people who first founded, even though we are still fighting that they are not actually the founders, yes, but the people who agitated, the people who came together, they had a good, great will, and they wanted this country to be known nothing else but agriculture. The foundation is supposed to be agriculture. Any other development, any other improvisation, any other creativity, any other innovation can come in, but we are supposed to be known. You know, you call some countries today, when you call America, they are known by something. When you call China, they are known by something. When you call Japan, and they wanted us to be known first by agriculture. The middle part is white. And so we have green, white, green. And that represents unity and peace. This is the Nigeria that is torn into pieces now. This is the Nigeria that every human being is like a gazelle you can chase and hunt. This is the Nigeria that you cannot stay any other place except you have to move to where you are coming from, or from your region, from your place of birth, or even from your tribal ethnic origin. That is what it is. But these people wanted, first of all, for us to be known by agriculture. Number two, they wanted us to know that we will have unity and peace. And this word, unity and peace, is absolutely a word that you cannot bring into this country. Why? Because this thing is not there. The second symbol that I want to give us is the coat of arms. Now, you know, when we were in secondary school, we were just forced to draw these things and do everything. Primary school and the rest of them, we have to say it in the morning, afternoon, every time we come to school. But we didn't know what it was. And it's like the present government and the citizens of this country also, they don't even know what these things are standing for. That is the fruit that these people wanted us to. So if we're going to have fruit model of leadership development, we have to find out this. The first on the coat of arms you're going to find is the eagle. And the eagle represents nothing but strength. The second thing you're going to find out also is there are two white horses. The two supporters represent dignity, because horse is completely, from where we are domestically, is the strongest horse or animal that we have around. And so because they are supporting all of this, we have dignity in this country. The black shield represents the good earth of Nigeria, which all of us know very well. The next one is silver wavy bands, represents the rivers Niger and Benue, which you know. Then the wreath is the colors of the Nigerian flag. And if you look at the wreath, actually they are plants or shrubs. They are found everywhere in this country. If you go to Maiduguri and you go anywhere you go, this is what God used to actually set our boundary. And it just has to tell us that this is who we are as Nigerians. Then the ground on which the bearing stand is cactus spectacle. Now, which is a common flower found throughout also Nigeria. This is the coat of arms. What do they represent? They represent to us, it is that Nigerians are full of strength, and you can see it. There is nowhere a Nigerian cannot survive. Even with what is happening right now, we are still surviving. It's only Nigerians that can exhibit this kind of strength. They have great strength, Nigerians. And we are also of dignity, because I know very well that years ago, when you say you are a Nigerian, everybody believe you, they trust you, because we were men of dignity. But now, I don't know how come that we have actually lost all of these things that we are. This is, Nigerians are also found everywhere. If you check very well, the cactus spectacle is actually found everywhere. So Nigerians are everywhere. There is almost no nation that a Nigerian is not there. Then we come to the national anthem, and I want you to also listen to, because the first thing we do is we have come to a place where we say, arise, all compatriots. Nigeria calls obey to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might one nation bound in peace and bound in freedom, peace and unity. And then the second stanza, which actually, whether it was deliberately planned or it was strategically made so that we don't come to the second stanza, because everyone in Nigeria knows stanza 1. But stanzas 2, we don't go there. And that is where the prayer of these people who started whatever we are arguing today, that is actually where all these things begin to. So you will find out that that is where they start. This is what they say. O God of creation. This is prayer. The first one is a call. Stanza 2 is a prayer. O God of creation. And it's not God of Christians and God of Muslims. No. The one that created the heaven and the earth. And the prayer is that direct our noble cause, which is a vision for this country. What we want this country to be, an agricultural country, that other things will come in, but the foundation of this country should be agriculture. And if we have stuck to or stick our lives to agriculture, we will never be crying like we're doing today. All these things that is making us to lack and is making us to go hungry and is making people out of jobs will never have been there. They say, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right. What a prayer. Guide our leaders right. That our leaders need guidance. We need to accept this as leaders, that you actually need to be guided. You need a power to actually guide you. And it's not the powers that we are getting when we come into leadership. Some go and do this, some will cook themselves, some will fortify themselves, some will make some funny things around them, some tie some things around their waist. This is not the power I'm talking about. I'm talking about that our God, who is the creator, is supposed to. And you need to be a person who is in the image of God, in the character of God, in the likeness of God, for you to be able to know, I am saddled with a responsibility to make my fellow humans better than when I met them. So they are asking, they are praying, guide our leaders right. Look at the next one, a prayer that is coming from the hearts of parents. And this is a prayer that is directed to their youths. What did they say? Help our youth the truth to know. And you're going to find out that this statement, which has been a prayer, it's actually the problem of this country. It is very serious because of media that people or the youths of this country now, they are suffering from lack of truth. I'm not saying education. I'm not saying intelligence. I'm not saying that they don't know things. No. What I'm saying here is that you might know a lot of things, but truth is different from any other education that you are thinking of. So he is saying, help our youth the truth to know. And we can never know truth as youth until it is passed on to us, either by example or by demonstration or by discipline. Truth is also communicatable. And you can come to that point. And he is saying that help our youths to know truth. He said in love and honesty to grow. Now, the present leadership that we have today, they were young men when these people were writing and praying this prayer. All of them that are now, you see how lack of truth has made them to become, and they turned this country to become something else. Some of them are presidents of their states. Some of them are landlords of their states. Some of them are just tyrants of their own state. Reason is because if they had known truth, and they will not have come to this level. They are praying and saying that in love and in honesty to grow. Our youths are supposed to grow in love, and they are supposed to also grow in being honest people. when you begin to look at, they ask a question, if what kind of leader will you want to follow if you're going to be in a constituency? And the answers came to be summarized in only 4 areas: that I need to follow a leader who is first honest. That's all. You don't say I need to follow a leader who is a Christian, or I need to follow a leader who is a Muslim. That is not true. This is what has destroyed us. Because you can be a Christian and never be honest. And all these leaders that we have in this country, they are all Muslims and they are all Christians. Hardly you find any one of them who is in maybe a pagan. Most of them are Christians and they are Muslims. And you see 2 people representing the biggest religion in this country messing up this country. What is wrong with them? There is a problem with love and there's a problem with being honest. And the prayer continued to say, and living just and true. Living just. You know, when you look at all of these things, you can see the picture of this country on the minds of the people who prayed this prayer. They are the ones who are giving us this national anthem. And of course, one of the reasons why we have never been reciting stanza 2 is because it's a contrast to who we are as Nigerians. It's completely a paradox. You know, it's like we are not supposed to be this way, yet this is what we are supposed to be: in love and honesty to grow, and then living just and true. How can we find that in the government? Can we find it in schools? Can we find it in our universities and polytechnics? Can we find it in the colleges of education? Can we find it anywhere in our neighborhood? Today, you can actually lower in a small boy and remove his head. You can lower in somebody else in those in needs and then take advantage of them. Living just and true. It is. These are qualities. These are things that these people pray for. They prayed for, and this the next line they said, that great lofty heights attain. Their prayer is for us to come to a place where we will attain great heights. We are to move from where we are and keep advancing and keep improving. That was a prayer. And then what were they to do when they come to this great lofty heights? They are to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. When you come to the last prayer, this is what we're supposed to be. Are we building a nation where there is peace? Are we building a nation where there is justice? Is justice rounding? Are we looking at those areas to say from the north to the south to the east to the west? Are we seeing a nation that has peace? Are we seeing a nation that has justice? And that peace and the rulership, that the atmosphere of this country is supposed to be based on nothing but peace and justice. And like I said, we are not going to go on to the other one, but go again and look at all this, the Nigerians. These are people that came into and they have all of this. With all of this, you can know, I would still like you to understand very well, these are part of the lectures that you are going to have when you join Institute for National Transformation. And I will want to also make you to come to that point where you will love. Just find out Institute for National Transformation. You will see some of these things. And when you come in and you are trained, then we will begin to become the critical mass that will move on to cause things to happen. I want to say thank you. Move on and make sure you contribute to this country. Make it great. Let us come to the place where our founding father started, and it shall be great as a country. Stay strong and build where peace and justice shall reign. Thank you.